Hironobu Sakaguchi. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Happy. Today we're gonna be talking about the USGamer interview with Tetsuya Nomura. It has a lot to do with Pixar worlds, the fate of Aqua, Pirates, Disney approval Frozen, just a whole bunch of information that you guys will probably want to know. It's something that is gonna maybe take a little bit longer than usual, but it's a really good interview and I hope you guys stick around for that. Let's get it on. Alright guys, so the very first thing that was spoken to about was the Pixar worlds. Tetsuya Nomura always wanted there to be Pixar worlds in the world of Kingdom Hearts. The whole reason why he couldn't get that done like in early stages was because Disney actually said that those properties were really hard to get to since it was a different studio. You know, whatever they had that was Disney, hey, we got you, boo-boo, here it is. But when it came to Pixar worlds, hey, you're gonna have to go and talk to basically the Pixar studio for you to get those properties, and it was a lot harder for them to do that. So when they finally were able to get, you know, the Pixar properties, then it became a little bit of a issue, I would say, because Pixar has certain guidelines that people from Kingdom Hearts series have to follow, such as like the toys in Toy Story have to look a certain way, and then the people from Monsters Inc., the monsters, have to also look a certain way. They have to have a certain color. One of them had to have one eyeball, and for that they chose Donald to have the one eyeball. And overall, there's just a whole bunch of guidelines that you have to go through before, you know, you just make whatever you want to make. You have to follow their guidelines, and that's what became such a hassle with talking about the Pixar worlds. Then they spoke about the Gummi ships, right? The Gummi ships. We finally got to see the Gummi ships make a return in the latest trailer of Kingdom Hearts. So why do we get to see the Gummi ships now as opposed to having seen them, you know, in Birth by Sleep, let's say, or in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance? The reason why that is because it is a main title, right? So Tetsuya Nomura says that since this is a main title, right, that's the reason why we're having the return to Gummi ships. As you guys remember, the very first Gummi ship that we had was in Kingdom Hearts 1. We also had Gummi ships in Kingdom Hearts 2. However, in Kingdom Hearts 3, it does look a little bit different. I would say that it looks a lot like it's been improvised a little bit, like it's been, you know, redone to fit more of what we're used to nowadays, right? So the reason why Nomura said that he wanted to bring back Gummi chips is because of what Mr. Hironobu Sakaguchi. Yes, Sakaguchi, the guy who made Final Fantasy, right? He says Final Fantasy is a title that just has everything in it. So by that same token, he's like, well, Kingdom Hearts is a title that should have everything in it. So you're talking about maybe Gummi ships, most definitely is one of those things. Definitely Coliseum, the Olympus Coliseum, and a whole bunch of other things that are key titles to Kingdom Hearts are gonna be in Kingdom Hearts 3. That's why they're saying that Final Fantasy has everything in it. Guess what? Kingdom Hearts has everything in it. Then the very most important thing I think of this whole entire interview was the question about Aqua, right? It's kind of funny because Nomura says that he's more shocked at the fact that people were more amazed or shocked at the fact that Aqua's reveal, like her eyes and her hair, took on a bigger shock value than the fact that they put Frozen in it. He was like, I'm kind of shocked that people, you know, found that to be so shocking as opposed to the fact that I put Frozen in it. And I find that funny too because we all just assumed that Frozen was going to be in Kingdom Hearts no more. But the whole thing is, you know, oh my god, she got Norded, yada yada yada. Now here's what Nomura says. He says that there will be events showing us, the player, exactly how she got Norded, why she finally gave in to the darkness, and why she is now part of Xehanort. And we're also gonna see, I think he said this, we're gonna see that we are able to take her back from being Norded. It says that the player, and that is key, guys, that is key, because he said the player, right? Only the player is able to save her from being ignored, basically, right? Only the player. The reason why I'm emphasizing on only the player is because it means that we don't know exactly who we're controlling, who the player's controlling. So it could be either Mickey that will be controlling, or it could be Riku, or it could be, maybe Terra. We don't know. It could be a whole other character on its own. But he says only the player will be able to save Aqua, and that is a big key. If I had to put my 10 cents in it, I'm gonna say Riku, because he's already a master, right? Riku passed the test of mastery, I think it's called. So he is a master. It's Master Riku now, right? So I think that he's gonna have the ability to be able to basically get, whatever darkness is inside of Aqua out. Maybe that's a specialty. Maybe he could get the darkness out, since he was able to get Ansem out of himself. No, actually, he didn't get Ansem out of himself. He just accepted him. So maybe he'll have a way of making Aqua accept Xehanort inside of her and be able to control Xehanort. There's something very interesting to talk about there. Which brings me to my question of the day. What? A question of the day in the middle of the whole thing? Yes! My question of the day is, what exactly do you think will happen to Aqua, right? Do you think that she's gonna be saved? Or do you think that she's gonna be one of those characters that goes goodbye? And that is where I'm going to lead into this, because that is one thing that he spoke about. That he is sad at the fact that he will have to say goodbye to some characters that he really was in love with, basically, because it's his baby. This is his baby, man. He made this game for 15 years now, almost 16, and he's gonna have to say goodbye to some characters, right? Obviously, this is gonna be the end of the Xehanort saga, so I'm gonna say that maybe Xehanort won't be making a return. And since most characters are now back as human form, not as a nobody or as a heartless, they're back in normal human form, I'm sure that if you kill one of these characters, they're not able to come back, right? So there's that. So I personally think that most of the organization, like the evil guys, may not be making a comeback. Yes. So yeah, there's that, guys. You gotta get used to the idea that some of these characters that you love yourself are not gonna be making a comeback. Then we go into Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes, Pirates of the Caribbean. Why did this man decide to put Pirates of the Caribbean, being a not cartoony, very realistic looking film, into the Kingdom Hearts world? Well, he says that he loves challenges, and most of the games nowadays are CG to look very realistic. So he wanted to try that out, because Kingdom Hearts is not known for making games that look realistic, right? He did this in Kingdom Hearts 2, but obviously in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like way more realistic looking than it looked in Kingdom Hearts 2, obviously. So he says that he liked the challenge, right? And the reason why they picked the third movie, which is At World's End, as opposed to the second movie, which is Dead Man's Chest, is because At World's End actually has an ending to it, right? Whereas Dead Man's Chest, at the end of it, you were kind of like in limbo, like it connected both movies together, right? So that's the reason why he chose, again, At World's End as opposed to Dead Man's Chest, just because the ending is more clear in Dead Man's Chest than it is in At World's End. Now we're gonna talk about the approval of Disney approving things, right? So in the past, right, I'm gonna try to tell you guys this as best as I could remember, right? So in the past, it was easier for Nomura to go up to like Disney and be like, hey, listen, this is what we want to do with this world, yada yada yada, like Aladdin. You're talking about Alice in Wonderland. Those were worlds that were already established, right? And there was no team behind it, because they were not gonna make another Aladdin movie. They were not gonna make another Alice in Wonderland movie. They were done with them, right? So they would just go up to a certain person in Disney and be like, hey, this is what we want to do, here's our plans, do you guys approve? And the person will be like, okay, let me look it over. He'll look it over and he'll be like, yeah, cool, no problem, we approve, right? So nowadays, since Disney has properties with Pixar, they have properties with Marvel, etc., when Nomura goes to a certain person, he no longer goes to that person anymore. He goes to the actual studios that make you know, let's say Frozen or Rapunzel or Monsters Inc. And he has to get their approval because they're still making movies for the future, you know, and they all have guidelines, and these guidelines you have to follow. So whenever you have to follow guidelines, it's harder for a person to make whatever they want to make, right? So it's been a lot harder for them in a way to just go out of their way and make whatever they want to make, because they have to follow basically what the actual people who already are making the game want them to make. So it's not like, you know, hey, we want Sora to be purple. Oh no, well, in Monsters Inc. Sora has to be blue. So it's things like that, you know, will get under their skin. But then they're like, all right, these are your guidelines, fine, you know, we'll make them blue as opposed to purple or whatever it is. So yeah, that is the whole thing with this day approval. You have to basically go to the creators and the producers of this game and get their permission before you go and do whatever you want to do with their film. And speaking of films, the one that was the hardest to actually work on in Kingdom Hearts 3 was Frozen. Yes, Frozen of all the damn things had the most guidelines. Yes, why? Because in the world of Frozen, there's a whole bunch of places that we don't get to see that they had to come up with in Kingdom Hearts 3. So as you guys see here, like them sliding down this thing, this is not in Frozen. Also them where they're fighting this giant, that is also not in Frozen. They have to make these sceneries, right? And for them to make these sceneries, they have to go through guidelines that the people from Frozen have. So to use an example, right? Let's talk about Aladdin. Aladdin, there's a whole bunch of scenery that we have in Aladdin, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 that we don't really get to see in the actual movie. However, they were able to get a lot of these scenes from like CG that Aladdin had already implemented in the past, right? So they went to the studio, they had some CGs, CGs is computer graphics, by the way, that was already made, right? So they took ideas from these CGs and they decided to make like the desert look a certain way and things like that. It was up to the Nomura team basically to do that, right? But again, when it comes to Frozen already has maybe future movies that they're gonna come up with. So they're gonna be like, hey, listen, if you guys want to use this part of the world, this is what it looks like. All right, if you guys want to go to the Kingdom of Arendelle, this is what the Kingdom of Arendelle looks like. So there's a whole bunch of guidelines that you have to follow with them, and that is like a big pain in the tutu for Nomura, because now like they have to abide by these, and that sucks. So the very final thing I wanted to talk about was Final Fantasy characters, right? We noticed that there hasn't been any Final Fantasy characters shown on any of the trailers, right? So they asked them about that. USGamer asked them, hey, how come we haven't seen any Final Fantasy characters? Did you guys just do away with them altogether? Or are you guys gonna actually, you know, be bringing them back into the Kingdom Hearts series? What I personally think is obviously they're gonna bring them back in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of worlds that already have Final Fantasy characters in them. So there's a whole bunch of characters in Traverse Town. There's a whole bunch of characters in Hollow Bastion, which is now called something else. No, Hollow Bastion is still Hollow Bastion. What am I saying? There's a whole bunch of characters that we still see from Final Fantasy that are in two towns. The very first town is definitely Hollow Bastion, and the second town is Traverse Town. Are we gonna be making a comeback to there? Who knows? I don't know. But there are Final Fantasy characters, period, is what I'm saying. And we may be able to see them, but according to Nomura, right, in this particular interview, he says that the Final Fantasy characters are actually very complex characters. The reason why we got to see them in the first Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 was because they will be like background characters that will help us get to our goal. However, he doesn't feel like that's needed anymore. He feels like Sora already has other quote-unquote background characters such as Kairi, Lee, Riku, King Mickey that actually are gonna be helping him to get to his goals. So he doesn't feel like Final Fantasy characters need to be in Kingdom Hearts 3 technically, quote unquote. However, he's not saying that necessarily we're not gonna have Final Fantasy characters, right? He's not straight out saying that. He's saying that we may have Final Fantasy characters, but at the time, right now, he can only talk about exactly what we've seen in trailers. So he's saying for us to keep an eye out for the future trailers, basically, to see if we do get to see Final Fantasy characters in that. So that's something to look forward to. There may be new renders of Final Fantasy characters, new clothes, etc., etc. He just can't talk about it right now, obviously, because there hasn't been shown anything like that. So he can only talk about what trailers have been shown, what information has been put out, etc., etc. All right, guys. So this has been a lengthy, very in-depth thing of USGamer interview, I guess, with Tetsuya Nomura. I hope that you guys did stick around. If you stuck around this long, hey, listen, you earned yourself a prize. Go to this video right here. At the end of the video, make sure that you comment below because I'm gonna be giving away an amiibo. It's a Dr. Mario amiibo. It's really hard to find nowadays, so I do hope that you guys do take care of it. Because Super Smash Bros. Is going to be coming out for the Switch this year, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to be really hard to find at that point. So yes, I'm going to be giving away this Dr. Mario amiibo. Alright guys, so listen, thank you so much for hanging out for this long. You are a great person for doing that. Remember, stay happy. Ratata. Have a nice day.
Turn the fucking bass up. Niggas envy, Blicky got the stiffy, Niggas envy, Blicky got the stiffy, Niggas envy, Blicky got the stiffy, Niggas envy, Blicky got the stiffy,